Okay, I think we made it. Thank you so much for your patience with us. We really appreciate it. We had some Zoom issues, but they're resolved. Can everyone hear me okay in the audience? Audience sounds strange. Can y'all all hear me? Okay, great. So here we go. Good day, and thank you so much for being with us here today. My name is Ann Ekblad, and I am a product owner for FOLIO, and I am an employee of EBSCO. I'm here today with my colleague, Anne-Marie Bro. She's also a product owner for EBSCO, and we are both privileged to work on the FOLIO product. We're excited to have you here today as we take a deep dive into the topic of creating bugs and searching within Jira. Our goal is to provide some effective strategies for the FOLIO community that we have here today. I'd like to firstly start by just reminding us of the description of today's program. The FOLIO community, including product owners, developers, and other key stakeholders, uses Jira to guide project planning, management, and the development of the roadmap for the FOLIO product. In this session, EBSCO FOLIO POs will guide participants through the process of bug creation and providing best practices for searching within Jira. They will also provide guidance and advice on how to more effectively communicate about development efforts using Jira in order to aid with point-of-need retrieval of vital project and product information stored within the software. I'd also like to set the tone today for us discussing the following key points: the situation, the complication, the question, and the answer. Firstly, the situation. As a reminder, Jira is the project reporting software used by the FOLIO community to help with project planning and product roadmap development. Planned developments to FOLIO are broken down into projects with valuable examples and use cases provided by the FOLIO community. FOLIO's Jira space provides the opportunity for community members to initiate, review, and add to development work in progress and planned for the future. The complication. With so many moving pieces and people sharing space to describe work related to the FOLIO product, Jira can seem really overwhelming. And it can also seem like more of a challenge than a helpful tool. The question. We as community members sometimes ask, how can I find what I need more efficiently? And what is the best way to use Jira to alert others? And what is the best way to use Jira to alert others when an issue arrives related to FOLIO functionality? The answer. Today, we plan on focusing on key areas within Jira to help ease the challenges and help us more easily go about the business of collectively advancing FOLIO. Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, your mouse is hiding.
Oh, okay.
There's too many things on the
Okay.
little lecterns do not have enough space.
Let me see if I can advance my slide here.
You're gonna go?
Oh, we have the
Page down. Yep.
yeah, page down. Okay, page down works great. Okay. Okay. Our focus today will be on 3 points: creating bugs, searching, and optimizing discovery. Anne-Marie will walk us through the creation of bugs in Jira. We will also briefly touch on how to search in Jira and how to find community resources available to advance our skills. And we will also touch on how to create work in Jira that actually sets projects up for success so that we move forward ahead together collectively within FOLIO. We also have some time, although probably a little bit less today, for questions and answers. We'll try to speed up our discussion, given our time constraints here. So next, I would like to pass it over to my colleague, Anne-Marie, who will go through the topic of creating bugs.
Thank you. And I just wanted to mention the PowerPoint that we have here has been posted to Sched if you need it, so you don't have to take pictures if you don't need to. And because I can't have my separate laptop, could somebody in the audience watch chat if there's questions? And if there's questions in the room that people can't hear, maybe somebody could type them into a chat. And Laura's saying yes. And I'm dropping cell phones. So, okay. So, those of you who know me know I am a old school librarian. I started at acquisitions, but I also did cataloging. For me, Jira is basically the card catalog of the folio development project. And there are good things and bad things about it. The biggest thing is that if you don't know how to search it, and if you don't have good metadata in your Jira issues, it's kind of like a misshelved book or a filed card in the card catalog. You will never find it again, or it will take you hours to find it. And I don't know about if any of you young people ever had to file in the paper card catalogs, but when I started in 1984, I was not allowed to file below the little thing that kept all the cards in. You had to file above, and somebody came and checked your work and then dropped the cards. So bugs are near and dear to my heart in Jira. I work with the FOLIO team, which works on data import and inventory. And one of the biggest challenges is that when people create bugs, but they do not assign them to a product owner or to a development team, they basically fall down into the whirlpool of unknown Jiras. And it is very hard for them to get to the right person. So I wanted to just go over some basics of creating bugs and show you an example. And then I'll turn it back over to Anne to talk about searching. So anybody who has a logon for the wiki for Folio, it's the same logon for Jira. Anybody that has a logon can create a bug in Jira. You may have policies at your particular institution about who's allowed to do stuff, but technically, if you have a logon for the wiki, you have permission to create bugs in Jira. We want to know, as product owners, as people that work with development teams, when you're working with something and it's not doing what you expect it to do. That could be because there's a bug. It also could be that that was not a requirement that we heard previously, and so we did not develop it that way. But it's good to know if there's somebody thinking it should work that way, or maybe this is a new requirement that we need to consider. Very important. This used to work, and then we upgraded, and it doesn't work anymore. What happened? That's called a regression. It may be because of your configuration, but it also may be something that we accidentally did. And so we definitely need to know about those. And then I was doing this and then everything just stopped. What happened? So anything like that, it is great to have a bug for. Before you create a bug, you have to have a Jira logon. And once you have a Jira logon, you can search to see if the bug already exists, but don't kill yourself trying to find it. The product owner will resolve it if there end up being duplicates. We may be able to add your information onto an existing bug. It is hard to find them sometimes. So if you can find one, great. If you can't find it, don't worry about it. And now I'm going to take you through the screens that you see when you are creating a bug in Jira. So when you log on, you're going to want to go to this little kind of dark create button up at the top. And that's going to open this little overlay that says create issue. And at the top of the bug is this information that you're going to see here. So the first thing that you want to do is pick the project that the bug is going to go in. You may know the project. If it's data import, the project is probably UI data import. If it's inventory, it's probably UI inventory, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't know the project, pick SUP, support, and then we'll move it to the right project when it gets to the attention of the product owner. For issue type, select bug if it's not already selected. There are several different issue types. You want bug because that's going to then trigger a particular template to show up. And then for the summary, that is the title of the bug. So give it a concise, what is the problem? This is what's going to show up as the title in Jira. Ooh, I got caught now. All right, moving down the screen a little bit. Once I did the summary, you'll see that's showing up as the title here. And then this is more of the kind of metadata about the bug that's up at the top of the Jira record. So assignee, whenever possible, please assign it to the product owner if you can figure out who that is. And please assign it to the development team if you can figure out who that is. And I'm going to show you a way to figure out who that is in just a second. With labels, if you are a library that's in production, please assign or type in the label support. And that's going to put it into a list of bugs that the support SIG looks at once a week to review whether there's progress, to assign priorities to poke the product owner about why there isn't progress. So if this is affecting a library that's in production, please be sure to assign that. If it's not, if your library's not in production, but you're playing around and you came across this, please don't assign support. We'll get to it when we can. So how do I know which development team or which product owner owns this thing? There is a page on the wiki that shows all of the projects that are in Jira and which development team and which product owner is in charge of them. So if I do a find on, yes.
You went to it and it's showing in Zoom, but it's not showing for those of us in the room.
Oh.
I think what
All
we're
right.
seeing in Zoom is your the view that you have with your preview.
So
That's
let
not
me,
the same as what we're seeing.
I'm going to try to share them all again and see if it'll show this time. No. Why?
Seeing it in Zoom. Play with it and then one doesn't.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, because the PowerPoint's taking over everything?
Just a thought.
Okay. All right, I'm going to close that. And then we'll just do the PowerPoint in, yeah, we'll do it like that. Okay, so if I, all right, yay. Okay. Oh, because I stopped sharing for Zoom until we straightened out the room. Now I'll reshare for Zoom.
Perfect.
This is a jinxed room, I tell you. Okay, we got it in the room. Hopefully we have it on Zoom. Okay,
Thank you.
yay. So this is on our wiki and it's a list of all of the projects that are in Jira, which development team owns that project, who is the product owner for it, who is the development lead for it, and what the module name is. And so if I'm looking for data import, and I'm just going to go IMP. This is anything that says mod is a backend part. So not the part that you see in the UI. Anything that says UI is what you see and what you interact with. And so backend of data import belongs to FOLIO. I'm the product owner for it. Soon we're going to have another product owner helping me out. And so if you were creating a bug for mod data import, which you probably wouldn't, you probably would create it for UI data import. Let me just get down to UI. Then if you would assign it to me and assign it to FoliJet as the dev team, it will come to me faster than if you don't. Otherwise, we have to wait for somebody to find it and route it to us. And let me just get back to the right screen. So that's the assignee field. If you just start typing my name, it will come up with who I am. And if you just start typing the development team, it'll come up with all the development teams that start with F. All right. We're going to stay in this view because it's safe. All right. Once you've done that, there's a few more fields at the top of the record that we would like you to fill in. And so they don't show up on the screen initially though. And so the only way that you can see those fields is to hit the edit button at the top left. Once you've initially saved the bug, and let's say I assigned it to support, it's going to give it a Jira number, so SUP 110, and you'll have this edit button in the top left. When you hit the edit button, it's going to open a little overlay that allows you to edit the issue. And there's two fields that we would like you to add to the bug. The first one is affected institution. We have a long list of folio institutions. Your library may or may not be on that list. If it is, please select your library. If it isn't, select other. If it's something that you think is affecting all institutions, not just your library, there's an all option at the top of the list. And then affected releases. Which version are you on? We don't need the numbers specifically, we need the flower. So if you're on the ORCID release, pick ORCID as your affected release. Hopefully there's not many Nolanas left. Nobody can be on Poppy yet because we haven't released Poppy. So most everybody I think would be on ORCID at this point. And when you click on those fields, these are the drop downs that you're going to see. For affected releases, it's a multi-select. So if you know that it's still happening in Snapshot, which is the current development environment, then you might say it's ORCID and Poppy. We don't particularly care if it's happening before ORCID because we are, there's not a lot happening for Nolana anymore. We're very focused on Poppy and we'll fix critical issues in ORCID. So once you've got all that stuff at the top of the record, then there's a description area, which is kind of a big white space. When you select the bug template, or when you say it's a bug and it assigns the bug template, you're going to have all of this filled in already. And the first thing that's there is a link to that page that shows you the dev teams and the product owners. So once you have figured that out, you can delete that because we don't need to see that. That's just to help you get the right people assigned. But then the more that you can give us in these areas, the better. So overview is an area where you can put a little bit more information about a bug, but you're not putting all of the steps that are involved in reproducing it. The title, the summary, we want you to keep fairly short, but if it would be helpful to put more description in, you can put that in overview. Steps to reproduce. What did you do to make this happen? From the very beginning, when you log in, all the way to the point where the problem happens. Don't assume that we know what you did. We cannot reproduce it if we don't know how you got to where you got to. And then expected results. What did you think was supposed to happen? And what actually happened? Very important for us to understand. Additional information. One thing I find for my developers when I find bugs is I tend to record a video for the bugs that I work with. A lot of times you're doing a whole lot of setup of profiles and going through a million steps. And I can write out the steps, but if I can also show them what's going on, it can be really helpful. So if you have a screen that shows you an error message, if you can record a quick video, anything that you can do that will give them a picture of what you're seeing can be super helpful. And then interested parties, you can put yourself, you can put others at your institution that may care about it. If there are SMEs in your SIG that may care about it, put them in there. The other thing that is incredibly helpful for the product owners and the developers is if you can try to reproduce the bug in the latest Bug Fest, so Orchid Bug Fest in this case, and in Snapshot. The first thing we're going to do is try to do this in Orchid Bug Fest. If it reproduces, chances are it's probably a bug. It's a problem for everybody. If it doesn't reproduce, this may just be this particular user or this particular institution. And so before we start going down the rabbit hole of looking at code, let's see if we can figure out if there's a configuration or a permissions problem of some kind. Snapshot, the other good thing about Orchid Bug Fest is that if you reproduce it there, and if it's something that involves profiles or a particular user, you can add a link in the additional information that says, here's the profile that I used, here's the instance that I was looking at, here's the item record that had problems. All of that can be super helpful. Because when you're working in your particular library's environment, most of us don't have access to those environments. So we can't see without pictures. We can't see without BugFest. It's also incredibly helpful if you try to reproduce it on Snapshot. If it reproduces on Snapshot, we know it's just not just an Orchid problem, that it's also still a problem. And so we need to think about, do we need to fix this in Poppy also? BugFest is more important because Snapshot resets every night. And so if you create it there, it's going to disappear. But if you create it in the latest BugFest, it's going to stick around and we can go back to it. And so this is a simple completed description. Some of the data import ones have like 30 steps, but I was trying to save this record that I was editing in some app, but I never could get the save button to light up. And for anybody that's created records or edited records, the save button is gray until you make a change, and then it will turn blue and you can save it. So I can't save this. I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, how did I get there? I logged into Folio and I am able to edit this kind of record, and I found a record and I clicked action edit and I made a couple changes, and then I tried to save it, but my expected result is that button should be blue. I should be able to hit it, but my actual result is I couldn't. Additional info, we're on Orchid at my library. We have installed Service Patch 4. I tried it on BugFest, same thing happened. I tried it on Snapshot, same thing happened. Something's broken. And here's a screenshot that shows you my problem. And Anne reported this one to me, but she wouldn't tell me what app it was.
Oh.
Right below the description is an attachments area. You can drag and drop screenshots, videos, GIFs of any details that you think will be helpful. And then if there's something that you want to say about it, but it's not really description, you can put it down in the comments. And so one clue for Anne about this bug was that everything was great until last week when we installed Service Patch 4, and then this stopped working. So something's weird. So that gives us a starting point to start investigating it. And so I have some links in here. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to not try to go into each of these, but that sample bug I created is here and we'll leave it alive. We have some other recent bugs in Jira. I think, actually, I am going to show you this one. So other recent bugs in Jira, bugs can be reported by users, but they can also be reported by the developers themselves, by the testers. We have a whole bunch of manual and automated testers, by the product owners, by practically anybody. And it's a little bit tricky to see, but there are 284 that have been created since August 1st. A whole bunch of those are also automated bugs that are in this FAT project. We have automated backend tests that check the APIs every day And when they fail, they generate an automatic bug in Jira, karate tests fail. Usually they resolve themselves the next day and they close really quickly. But this is the kind of stuff that we and the development teams are seeing every day and wading through. So just since August 1st, 284 new issues in Jira. If you look at the ones that were reported by users, which have the support label, of those 284, there are 7 that were reported by users, at least that have the support label, which means that all the rest are showing up, or most of the rest are showing up because product owners, developers, QA people are finding them. So super important that you report them, and super important that you get them to the right person. I get really hung up on bugs that don't have an owner because they often end up being mine. So I have a filter that looks for bugs that are not assigned to a dev team that I look at every couple of days. And I'll find a Thunderjet one sitting in there, or a FoliJet, or a Spitfire, and get them to the dev team and the product owner so that they can at least start looking at them, because otherwise they're not going to get looked at. And I think that, and so then what other things I mentioned, trying to reproduce it in the latest bug fest, trying to reproduce it in Snapshot, as many details as you can give us. And especially if you've set it up in bug fest, if there's links to particular records or particular profiles or users, those can be incredibly helpful too. I'll just mention, because I didn't create a slide, once we get that bug report, the product owner typically will look at it, will try to figure out if it's already been reported, and if so, we'll try to smush those together so that we have one bug report. Try to figure out if it's in the right project or if we need to move it. Is it a back-end problem? Is it a front-end problem? Get with the developers and then try to figure out how complicated is it to fix? Is it something that we can work on soon? Knowing how much of an impact this is having on your day-to-day work is incredibly helpful for us. If you cannot use inventory, because you can't get to the inventory app, that's kind of important. If it's one item record that has a problem, chances are it's a data problem, and we'll have to work it through with you, but it's not the highest priority fix as if every item record was having a problem. All right, so with that, I'm going to hand us over to Anne.
Great. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. I know that we are all benefiting from having you here with us today. So, all right, let's go ahead and pivot to the next couple of points that we have in today's presentation. So what we're going to talk about next is searching within Jira, and then also from the point of creating work within Jira, optimizing discovery. I do want to just point out, and I don't think that I'm using these words lightly, but we really do consider Jira to be the source of truth related to the Folio product and all projects related to its advancement and continued effort to sustain itself. And so I just want to briefly point that out before we move forward. The top row of this slide really talks about or briefs us on the points related to searching. So we have, today we're going to go through searching basics. We will also cover filtering and also the use of boards. And then the bottom row of this slide expresses more from the point of creating work within Jira. How are we going to operate in order to be as successful and efficient as possible? So we will discuss how to create work thoughtfully, how to label and use data dictionaries, and also confirm the quality of the work that we're putting in or the issues that we're creating, as well as collaborate with others. I'm breezing through some of what I wanted to talk about, and I want to just orient myself to one thing. I really do want us to focus on this bottom row a little bit more today. because as we prepared as product owners for this conference and for what we wanted to discuss, the topic of searching in Jira came up. And the topic of searching in Jira came up repeatedly. And then at one point in our conversation during one of our product owner meetings, the community of product owners really expressed that not only do we need to focus on searching, but also what we put into Jira is exactly what we're going to get out. And in my family, we have a saying, you can't know what you haven't been told. And so what I want to do today is help us to refocus on a few key things. So we as information professionals champion metadata. We recognize the paramount importance of high quality information to yield retrieval. I am a degreed librarian with a significant amount of experience in a number of years working within collection management, collection development, cataloging, and integrated library systems. And so I know that a number of you in here have some of that mentality within you as well. And these are some of the skills that we want to bring forward when we're describing work in Jira. So I just want us to keep in mind that we want to use the same convictions to help compel us to create issues with purpose. So I'm going to move forward here. Okay, so let's talk about searching for just a little bit. And I would like, if I have a couple of minutes, I would like to actually do a quick demo. Within Jira, we create work. We have work or tickets. Anne-Marie walked us through one of the issues that we have here in Jira is a bug. Other issue types within Jira are oriented within a parent-child hierarchy. Some of you may be really familiar with this. Some of you may be a little bit new to this. So let me just briefly discuss that within Jira, you will find, in addition to bugs, you will find epics, features, stories, tasks, and sometimes subtasks. Product owners typically manage epics and features. Developers really do focus quite a bit on stories, tasks, and bugs. A query is also what we would describe as a search within Jira. And as an aside, if you do have questions about specific Jira issues, please feel free to contact the reporter and/or the assignee related to that Jira. Okay, let's talk a little bit about basics for searching. There are three main types of searching within Jira: quick search, basic search, and advanced search. Quick search is near the top of the right window in Jira, which we'll get to in just a little bit, and it provides text and keyword searching. Clicking on the quick search box will help users to quickly navigate to recent issues. I bring this up because one of the things that we want to keep in mind when we're searching in Jira is, what is my purpose? What am I really after today? Am I looking for a particular bug that I have assigned to Anne-Marie or that Anne-Marie reported to me? Am I actually looking for a particular feature that I heard a colleague of mine mention in a meeting recently? Basic search allows for more than quick, but it actually does not require what is called JQL or Jira query language. So with basic search, you can actually form more of a complex search by beginning with some keywords and then filtering down and using the options within Jira to help yourself. And then advanced search really does rely on, and is the most complex version of searching within Jira. It relies on the use of Jira query language, or the most complex type of language that you can put in. And I will also point out that Anne-Marie is such a Jira guru that recently we were reviewing this presentation together, and there was actually a query that she has in Jira query language that is too complex for basic search. So that can happen. So what we want to do here is not only understand our purpose, but, oops, hang on just a second.
That shows the search. Two other places.
Oh, that's good, actually. Okay. We also want to be able to filter within Jira and create quick access points for ourselves. In a minute, I will demo an example of a filter that I've created. So when you see it, you'll have to recognize that it's a simple filter that I've created, but as someone new to Jira, which I am, it provides more of a quick glance at information that I need on a daily basis. So I'm a product owner working with circulation on Team Vega. And one of the reasons that this filter that I'll show you is so important to me is that it provides an opportunity for me to see open test cases that I need to review and approve for my team. I am responsible for working with our manual QA, the individual working with manual QA on Vega. And one of my responsibilities is to, within each sprint, monitor and make sure that I am approving test cases that have been created so that the quality of work that we have in Folio will be as optimal as possible. So we will see in a second here that actually he added one this morning, right when I was working on this presentation. So that was great. The last part is that we really would like to talk a little bit more about organizing and sharing information. And the best way to do that, or one of the best ways to do that, is creating boards and also dashboards. Before I move on to the next slide, I just wanted to point out that Caitlin Stewart in yesterday's meetings really did highlight that the Library of Congress has a dedication not only to the Folio project and product, but also having everything be as open as possible to the Folio community. And so what we'll see here in a second is that there is a dashboard, as she mentioned, created that focuses on the Library of Congress issues and priorities, and that it will serve as a good example today of what we can look at. Lastly, I just want to encourage us that if we do find a good tip related to searching, it's best to pay it forward to other community members. Okay, I will also do a demo, but we can see here, this is what quick search looks like within Jira. This is what basic search looks like. And over to the far left, you can see a little bit of a highlight for new search. And then this is what advanced search looks like. You can also, I would also just like to point out that within basic search, the way that you can switch to advanced is by clicking advanced. And then also you can see here we're in the Jira query language and we see basic here. Okay, let's talk a minute about optimizing discovery. So let's refocus to that. We are learning about how to search, but we're also wanting to create work within Jira, put in a bug, make an issue, and what are some ways that we can help out the rest of our community members in this case? So firstly, we want to think about our user. Who will need this information and what really do we want to get across? So in this particular slide, I like to think that we're really talking about information hygiene. And so the first thing that I would like to mention is that really we just want to put in only necessary information. You know, we realize that there's a lot of moving pieces within Folio and there's a lot that we might want to express about something, but we really want to be judicious when we're creating issues within Folio. Some key ways that we can think about creating work thoughtfully are actually defined in the Folio Wiki. They include clearly defining and writing with the customer in mind, or writing with the individuals in mind, the Folio community, describing the work or problem, describing the benefit of implementing something new, especially with a feature, and also describe the risk of what Folio would be like if this new feature or issue or story weren't implemented. What type of problem would we have as a community if we don't put this information forward into development? We also want to express, are there any known dependencies? If we think about this issue that we're wanting to create within Jira, is there anything else that we need to be considering at the point that this is developed? We also want to rely on templates, which is helpful, and also revise features as needed. We, as EBSCO FOLIO POs right now, are doing a lot of refinement and revising with our projects that we have as high priorities. And so oftentimes Jira not only is the source of truth, but it's an evergreen, literally evergreen source of truth. We want to use labels. We also want to check our quality, and we definitely want to engage with the community. And I realize that we're running short, but I really do want to go out to Jira for just a little bit here. Okay, we still have 10 minutes. You know, we really didn't talk about labeling and data dictionaries. Let me go back to that just a little bit, y'all. Okay, so we have talked about some, thoughtfully creating work, but one of the things that we definitely want to do is pay attention to the label field within our Jira issues. This is very important because some of the teams and some of the projects and some of their priorities have designated labels that they use. Those labels will help also to guide those particular issues into different filters, as well as make them available for dashboards. They help with prioritization. As Anne-Marie mentioned, using support as a label when creating a bug is very important. A couple of pieces about labels that I do want to mention, and I heard this asked in a recent forum that Julie Bickle was leading related to searching within Jira. The question was posed, what are your thoughts about adding a label to someone else's work, to someone else's issue? And, her response I thought was really wonderful. She said, if you have any questions, if anyone would have a problem about it, go ahead and touch base with either the reporter or the assignee. And her advice was also, which I agree with, please do not remove a label if you haven't touched base with the reporter and assignee. They may or may not think that it would be the best thing to do to remove that label. And in our last slide following the questions, we actually have a wonderful example of a data dictionary that FOLIO uses that Anne-Marie created, where you can actually see common labels that are used with FOLIO, why they're used, who uses them, and that really helps to express the granularity of labels, but it also helps us to understand how thoughtful the work can be and necessary. Okay. I think we might have to not do the demo.
Well, do a couple minutes.
Okay, a couple minutes.
Let me hold this while you
Okay,
log on. Because you're logged on as me right now.
I know. Okay.
And then I'll give you back the mic.
Okay, go for it.
But you need to log on as you.
I know I'm logging out. Logging out, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Did you have some points maybe that you'd like to make?
No.
Oh, okay, you're good
It's all
for me.
you.
Thank you so much.
I was going to just hold it until you, because there's so many things in your hands right now.
Thank you.
It's always fun working on somebody else's machine when you have all your passwords bookmarked and defaulted.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, while she's logged on, are there questions? Yes.
Our reporting system, it's one of those things where we have it's part of the reporting system and also working knowledge. Because it's sort of like these are the steps that I did, this is the problem, and then here are the steps to fix it. But this is there anything like that where if you're searching for an answer to something, you will find it Jira in that working something.
So the question was, for Chicago, their bug reporting also tends to be kind of a place where they can get information. You can search and find when this happened, this is how we solved it. And it's Jira like that. I would say kind of incidentally, what I find is that a lot of times in Jira, the issues are too detailed, particularly the developer-oriented ones, to be easily understood. What we try to do is in the wiki, we try to document as much as possible, and this is also where I think we product owners rely on new users to help us. Again, anybody with a log on can edit the wiki. We have a tips and tricks area where you can put in FAQ type information. Laura is desperately searching for people to help with the metadata management official documentation. And so we love having help with that. And I totally agree, when you find out something, when you figure out something that was hard for you to figure out, the best thing that you can do is document someplace so somebody else can find it. But I would say Jira is useful to search for that kind of stuff, but not useful kind of over time to go for instance.
It could be useful if you see that somebody has reported that issue already and it's supposedly got, like if someone reported a bug and it supposedly got closed and you're seeing that same behavior again, that would be useful.
If you search and you see, oh, they think they fixed it, but I'm still seeing it. You may still be on an older release that hasn't been fixed yet, or it may have reappeared, or they covered 4 of the pieces where it's happening, but we missed the 5th, and so now here's another way that we need to go back and fix it and add test case to make sure that.
Okay, great. I don't know how many cents this tour will be worth, but I'd like to just briefly go over. We've logged into Jira and I'm logged in as myself. This is quick search, so I'm hopeful everyone online can see it too. So we're in quick search. We can see that one advantage of quick search is that it will enable me to see all of the recent features, bugs, issues, stories that I've been working with. So recently worked with is quite visible right here. I can easily type in a few keywords that will start out my search. I can also search for a particular feature, issue, bug, etc. by the number. To move quickly into basic, I can click on view all issues, view all projects, which will undoubtedly be hanging out underneath your most recent searches within Quick.
There's only 16,000.
Yes, exactly. So here we go here. I have just clicked on view all issues, and I have now brought myself into what I would consider to be one of the areas for basic search. We can see here that if I wanted to begin a basic search, I could click on some text here, and I can also click to take a look at my filters. And over to the left, I have more ways to filter and create a basic search. If I want to create an advanced search, I can click advanced and it will begin to allow me to do that. I'm going to go back to basic. In the interest of time, I would like to actually show you a couple of things. One, I want to show you a filter that I have that I use on a daily basis. Several times a day, I come into this. We can see that the individual who works with me on Vega related to manual QA has added an FAT or an automated test case that I need to review today. He has added that in today, and I would just simply click to go through that work. But also we can see in order of last updated or worked on the features that I'm currently responsible for and the features and stories that I'm monitoring here as well. One thing that we didn't go into very deeply in this talk is, when you do create issues, when you do create bugs, please link them to related epics, features, other stories, because that helps to guide project work.
And if you forget, we will fix it.
Oh, certainly we will. Yes, we'll do everything that we can. Okay, boards. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you just mention the watchers down at the bottom?
Oh, thank you so much. I actually had that on one of my quick tips, which I skimmed through and I shouldn't have. One great thing actually within each of the Jira issues, thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for pointing this out. There is actually an ability to watch an issue. You can watch an epic, you can watch a feature, you can watch issues, tasks, bugs, etc. And what this will do will be that you will receive notifications when they've been updated. Another point that I think is important to make here, and I know we're running out of time, but it's this important. One thing that has been so helpful to me is paying clear attention to added comments. The last activity in each of the Jira issues, there is a place that community members can add comments. Please feel free to add comments at any time to any issue, but also if you are working on or monitoring a project or a part of a project and you have a vested interest in it, before reaching out to the assignee or the reporter, go ahead and scroll down and see if there's been any update. I had a couple of times when I first started where I just thought, oh, this is kind of stagnating, but I didn't know that I could watch the issue. I didn't know that I could click to see the recent comments, and that's been really helpful. Thank you for pointing that out, Anne Marie. I realize that we're about a minute, we have a minute left. I do want to point out that within Jira, you can look at any of the boards. These are also very helpful during the practice of iterative sprints that we have in development teams. And also you can look at the dashboards available, including this one that I will bring up because Caitlin also mentioned it. These are Library of Congress features that are, and so what you can see, the reason why this is so important to us is dashboards provide a very broad overview of work that is created within Jira, and it's all put into one place. It's helpful, and it's also especially helpful when we within Folio have not only an open source, but a community-driven project that there are new participants coming in. How are they affecting the community that we have? And so I realized that that was very quick, but we are so, so grateful that you're here. If you have any questions for us, we actually have uploaded our presentation, including these extra resources, and we have our contact information here. I can't thank my colleague, Anne Marie, more. She's phenomenal and an expert in this area. I feel very fortunate to be presenting with her and with you all today. We're at time, but are there any questions that came through the chat right at the end? I'm wondering. Let me see here. I actually think I can look.
Yep, no questions.
Okay.
So.
Well, y'all, we feel really fortunate that you came, and thank you for putting up with Zoom issues.
And if you can't tell, we kind of love Jira. So, if you can't tell, we kind of love Jira. So feel free to ask.
It should still be mine.